Mass Media Studies Evaluation by Lucy Johnson. Evaluation Activity 1. In what ways does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products, i.e. of film openings? The title of my film is Hero. I selected this as it reflects the theme of my film well, since my film is about a teenage girl who aspires to become a superhero. I decided to choose an action comedy for the genre of my film because it would suit the storyline well. Title of my film. The title of my film is Hero. They're seen pinned onto a corkboard of my character's bedroom. It's handwritten, which I think fits well into the genre and storyline of my film because it makes it look less professional, like my character, because she wants to become a superhero. The handwritten title suggests the character is quite artistic, which the audience can tell because of her homemade costume. My title doesn't really follow conventions with the action genre because they would usually be greater and bolder. Setting and location. The location I chose to set my film is my character's house. There are photos of my character dressed as superhero in superhero costumes on her bedroom wall, which could be seen as funny, sticking to the comedy genre. The costumes and props. The costume my character is wearing is a homemade stereotypical superhero costume, sticking to the conventions of superheroes. My character is wearing a purple leotard, green tights and a black cape, and a homemade logo and mask. The mismatch of colours shows her personality is full of energy and exciting. The only prop I used in my film is a comic strip that my character has made. On it are hand-drawn drawings relating back to both the action and comedy genre. The title, font and style. My font style is comic to convey the conventions of the action genre. The font is colourful, so it reflects her personality. Because some of the fonts are handwritten, that also links back to her personality. The storyline and how the opening sets it up. Towards the beginning of my opening titles, the camera zooms in on a few photos of my character dressed in superhero costumes. This lets the audience see what sort of a person my character is. Superheroes link in with the action genre, so I immediately think this would be obvious to the audience. We then see my character dressed in a superhero costume. She walks away, looking as if she has something to do, so this sets it up for the rest of my film. How characters are introduced. The only character introduced in the opening titles of my film is the protagonist. She is first seen sat at her desk, drawing. Evaluation Activity 2. How does your media product represent particular social groups? The character I would say my character is most similar to is Dave Zewski from Kick-Ass. Both characters are the protagonists of their film. Even though they are different genders, both characters are teenagers who decide they want to become superheroes, even though they don't have any superpowers or training. The appearance of both characters is fairly different, seeing as they are different genders, but the fact they both wear superhero costumes gives them a similarity. Dave is a young male, around the same age as my character. He has short brown curly hair, whereas my character has long blonde hair. Both characters' costumes are similar, as they are superhero costumes. Their costumes are relatively similar in the way that neither of them are very professional. Their role in each film is very similar. Both characters are aspiring to become superheroes. Neither characters are stereotypical teenagers. They both come across as uncool. Evaluation Activity 3. What kind of media institution might distribute your media product and why? A production company is responsible for the fundraising of a production. It handles the organisation and the actual production, post-production, distribution and marketing. The production company is owned by a media conglomerate. My film Hero would use a small British production company to produce it. I have chosen to use Marv Films as I think it would work best with my film. To increase the size of my film, I would also use Lionsgate Films, as it is a bigger American production and distribution company. Lionsgate is the largest and most successful mini-major film studio in North America. I chose Lionsgate because it specifically focuses on foreign and independent films. Before I chose Lionsgate as my distributor, I researched a few major American companies to see which of them would be best to distribute my film. The first company I looked into was the Walt Disney Company, which is the largest media organisation in the world, being part of the Big Six. The Walt Disney Company, commonly known as Disney, is an American multinational mass media corporation headquartered in Walt Disney Studios, Burbank, California. Disney was founded on October the 16th, 1923 by Walt and Roy Disney as the Disney Brothers Cartoon Studio, and established itself as a leader in the American animation industry before diversifying into live-action film production, television and travel. Taking on its current name in 1986, it expanded its existing processes and also started divisions focused on theatre, radio, music, publishing and online media. Disney creates children's and family-orientated film such as Frozen, Tangled, The Lion King and The Little Mermaid. I don't really feel that the Walt Disney Company would be right to produce and distribute my film because it works on big American films, not partly British produced like mine. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer is another big American production company involved primarily in the production and distribution of films and television programmes, and was once one of the largest film studios. They produce many well-known popular films such as Skyfall, The Wizard of Oz, The Hobbit and 21 Jump Street. This production company does not stick to one genre like Disney, so I think it could work for my action comedy film. Another company I looked into was Film 4 Productions, which is a British film production company owned by Channel 4 Television Corporation. The company has been responsible for backing a large number of films in the United Kingdom. This includes the films 12 Years a Slave, 127 Hours, Nowhere Boy, and the In-Betweeners movie. I believe that Film 4 would also work well with my film, as it specialises in a range of different genres, from comedy to serious dramas. To support the production of Hero, my film, I chose to use Marv Films. This production company has great experience in both action and comedy genres, and the film I chose to produce is very similar to style to theirs. The ideal distributor for my film would be a large American company, such as Lionsgate Productions, to distribute it in the US to create the widest possible audience. This large production and distribution company is perfect for the distribution because it has a high level of experience. Evaluation Activity 4. Who would be the audience for your media product? The target audience for Hero would be both male and female. I have rated my film a PG because it is meant for both children and adults. Also, it's for ages 8 to 40. My film will appeal to children as well as their parents who might want to take their children to watch the film. Because it's a PG, it's suitable for general viewing, although some scenes may be unsuitable for young children as it includes mild violence in which children may be influenced by. My film would appeal to stereotypical teenagers, both male and female. My target audience would shop in shops like Topshop and Topman, New Look, H&M and Jack Wills, as these shops sell typical and fashionable teenage clothes. The music they would listen to would be generic chart music like the Arctic Monkeys, Sam Smith and George Ezra. The sort of TV programmes they would watch would be Friends, The In-Betweeners and Sherlock. The films that my target audience would watch would be along the same genre as my film Hero. There will be Kick-Ass, Spider-Man and Superbad. Evaluation Activity 5. How did you attract and address your audience? During my opening titles, I used my main character's costume to intrigue my audience and catch their eye. My character's costume reveals information about the genre of my film and what it's going to be like. From it, the audience can understand that it's going to be an action film, as my character is dressed as a superhero, which stereotypically fits under the action genre. Because her costume is homemade, it doesn't look very serious, this also suggests that my film is going to be a comedy. I got my inspiration for my opening titles from the film Kick-Ass. In both Kick-Ass and my opening titles, we see a person dressed as a superhero and can see that they aspire to become one. The camera shots and angles I've tried to make interesting, as it will be more eye-catching for the audience. The video transitions I've used are fast and interesting, sticking to the action genre. I believe that the unique selling point in my film is that you only get to see one character during the entire opening titles. She seems as if she is on a mission to get something done, and because we don't get to see what she is actually going to do during the opening sequence, it intrigues the audience to carry on watching and be interested in what's going to happen later on. Evaluation Activity 6. What have you learnt about technologies from the process of constructing the product? The practical skills. As I had very little understanding and didn't have much experience on how to make an opening title sequence, I had to develop any new skills in order to create a polished and professional video. Before I started filming, I had to test out the video camera, tripod and lighting. Although I already knew how to use the camera, I went out to my location to take a few test shots, just to get a feel of how the camera worked properly. This really helped, because I could see what camera angles worked well and what didn't go so well. The tripod helped keep the camera steady whilst filming. I realised that lighting isn't as easy as I initially thought. A lot of work has to be done to get the perfect lighting for videos and to get the shadowing right. Final Cut Pro techniques. Before I started using Final Cut Pro for the editing of my opening titles, I had some experience beforehand from when I had to edit my preliminary task. I had to learn new techniques for my editing, such as the video transitions. This included the fade effects that happened between the transitions of each video clip. Another technique I used was the sound. At different points I needed different sound, both diegetic and non-diegetic, so I had to learn how to do this. YouTube and uploading. Once my video was ready to upload, I used YouTube to put it on Blogger. I was already aware of how to upload videos to YouTube, as I had some experience in the past, but I improved my skills by learning how to upload the video off of YouTube and onto my Blogger. Blogger. Blogger was a website that I had never used before, so this gave me the opportunity to learn and develop new skills in this area. Once I had signed up, I began to create my own blog. I started off by personalising it. I changed the design of my page, the background of my header. To create my header, I chose my favourite pictures of things I liked, such as films, TV programmes and music. I then photoshopped them together to create a header for my blog. I feel this really demonstrates my personality. I found Blogger fairly easy to use, as I picked up the techniques needed to use it relatively quickly, and I understood how to upload photos, files, write documents and create my own profile. This made me able to upload all of my work straight onto my blog, so the teachers could then see it. Evaluation Activity 7. Looking back at your preliminary tasks, what do you feel you have learned in the progression from it to the full product? From making my preliminary task to now finishing my opening titles, I definitely feel that my level of professionalism when creating the video has developed. I feel that the quality of my film opening titles has certainly improved, and during my preliminary task that is really something that I wanted to work on. To do this, I focused on the camera shots and angles used and developed them. I learned how to highlight specific elements on the screen that I wanted to focus on. During my opening titles, I really thought hard about where would be best to set and film my video, and by doing this, I feel like the quality and understanding of my film improved. I didn't really take much thought into the setting for my preliminary task. I now have a better understanding on costume and how to portray a character through this. Costume can tell a lot about a person, and I use this to help with my filming. Doing both my prelim and my opening titles helped to advance my knowledge of the film industry and how now I have a greater understanding.